Following this breaking news, James Harden shipped away from Houston. Now will be joining the Brooklyn Nets. This reported by Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne. And now Adrian Wojnarowski joining us here on NFL Live to give you all the details on this. So Woj, lay it out for us. What do we know about how this happened and how we got to this point?
First, guys, I am thrilled to be on this show. You guys know how much I love watching you guys.
Man.
But
You're the man,
listen, this is a massive deal all around. Listen, for the Brooklyn Nets to go out and get James Harden, this was something that Kevin Durant very much wanted. He and Harden started talking about this months ago. And listen, with the uncertainty surrounding Kyrie Irving right now, and I think there's still hope, expectation, he returns and plays for this team. You remember, free agency comes back upon you pretty quick in this league. Kevin Durant's in the second year of a 4-year deal, and getting Harden, that's another reason for Durant to want to stay. But now, if you get Irving back and he's back to playing at a high level, you have a 1-2-3, perhaps unlike we've seen in this league in the modern era, but certainly it comes at a steep price. 4 first-round picks, 4 pick swaps. The picks are unprotected. One of those picks is coming from Cleveland. This is part of a 3-way deal, really a 4-way deal. Karis LeVert goes from the Nets to the Indiana Pacers, and Indiana sends Victor Oladipo to Houston. So a lot of moving parts in this deal.
Yeah, you mentioned some of those moving parts, and the Kyrie piece of this is really interesting. I want to get back to that, but let's talk about this 4-team deal. Give us a little more detail on the second level part of this, other than just James Harden joining the Nets.
Well, I think this was a deal really that came together in the last couple days, and Philadelphia was very much in pursuit of James Harden. Obviously, Daryl Morey, their president, traded for him in Houston, won a great deal with him. But ultimately, this Nets deal, this package, bringing Cleveland into it, got it done. And I think for Houston, you look at them, remember, they gave up a lot of picks in that Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook deal. They get them back and then some, and it gives the Rockets now, their new GM, Rafael Stone, an ability to start a rebuild. Victor Oladipo's in the last year of his contract. They can see how that goes. Do they want to re-sign him? Does he want to be there? But certainly a blockbuster deal by any standard in the NBA. And it is going to be fascinating to see Harden and Kevin Durant reunited in Brooklyn. Obviously, they played in Oklahoma City together. And then Kyrie Irving, likely, potentially, you would expect at some point as part of that mix too.
Wow. As all this was coming down, Woj, on your Twitter, it was like looking around like, wow, what else is going to be added to this? But just to recap for everybody, we see James Harden go from Houston to the Brooklyn Nets, joining up with Kevin Durant, something that he wanted to do. Thanks so much to Woj for joining us here on NFL Live. Much more coverage on this James Harden blockbuster trade at 6 Eastern on SportsCenter. Keep it locked right here on ESPN. We'll have all the breakdown. Woj, of course, continuing to keep everybody up to date on all of.
Max, how does this make Harden look?
Makes him look bad right now. First of all, how are you showing up fat in the NBA? I don't understand. You're not a center or something like that. You're a combo backcourt player with you're dribbling all day and running up and down the floor, and improved defender. How are you, even if you play basketball on a daily basis in a rec league, it's hard to be fat. That's impressive, as a matter of fact. That's number one. Number two, guys, he looks bad because even John Wall's coming out after that and saying, you're bailing after 9 games? We need everyone to, pulling in the same direction. Everyone knows Harden doesn't want to be there. Here's the problem. Here's the problem, guys. And Stephen A., you brought up Dwight Howard earlier, and I brought up Westbrook and Chris Paul. Harden thinks he wants to play with guys, and then after a year, the other guy's like, even if he has a good relationship with him, like Westbrook does, I don't want to play with this dude anymore. This has happened time and again with Harden. So if you're another team looking at Harden, seeing he's a superstar, right? He plays on superstar level. You're thinking, do I want to mortgage the future to get this guy in here now? What if in a year or two, whoever we have here that makes this an attractive destination for him says, I don't want to play with that guy anymore? Now, It'd be one thing if I understand rolling the dice on that if Harden was the type of dude who came through under pressure, like Game 7 against Golden State. Only reason they got that far because they were an undermanned team even before Chris Paul got hurt. They got to a Game 7 against the KD, Clay, Steph, Dre Golden State Warriors. Won 73 games, added KD. Nothing could stand in their way. But they played a Game 7 in Houston. And Houston went 0 for 27. 0 for 27 from 3 at one point. Still only lost by single digits. If Harden was the type of cat who got hot that night and got him past Golden State, then maybe some of these teams would be like, and the dude is clutch. He's going to deliver us a championship. Let's grab him. But they don't feel that way. And what you're seeing is teams unwilling to give the Rockets superstar compensation for Harden. So right now, what Harden looks like is a non-superstar on the trade market.
Max, I respect your opinions, and I don't disagree with you, but you're giving me your opinion. I'm trying to give you some information. I've been on the phone all morning. Here's what they're saying about Harden. He's given 50% effort. He's taken about 35% of the shots he normally takes. And because of that, his teammates, he's not getting along with them because he's made it very, very clear to them that he does not believe in them and that he doesn't want to play with them and he doesn't want to be there. He's considered somebody that's being good to the city of Houston because he loves H-Town. He's not being truculent with the organization per se or with ownership, but because of how he has reacted to his players, to the team, to the teammates, they don't appreciate it. And as of right now, they're pretty much done with him because they know he's done with them. As a result, Max, from what I'm being told, the Houston Rockets are strongly considering granting James Harden his request to let him sit out and not be with the team anymore until they're able to move him. They haven't made that decision yet. Maybe they have made it within the hour, or maybe they'll make it sometime today or tomorrow. But the situation has regressed to such a degree that as of right now, the Houston Rockets are contemplating as to whether or not they're going to let James Harden just stay home until they find a suitable trade in order to move him out of there. I think it's sad. I don't think he's handled this right. He's still averaging 24 and 10 on 44% shooting. He's still doing, that's only shooting 16 shots a game to show you how lethal he is. But I think it's a damn shame that Steven Silas, who waited 20 years as an African-American assistant in the NBA to get this opportunity, to be subjected to this. I don't think that makes James Harden look good in a lot of people's eyes. But I'm not going to completely absolve the Houston Rockets from this in this regard. They kind of created a culture. Mike D'Antoni is gone. That's his guy. Daryl Morey is gone. That's his guy. You should have moved him out, too. They didn't. He desperately wants out. And as a result, being a little bit overweight, taking 35% of his shots, giving 50% effort, although we all find that inexcusable, we also find it relatively predictable when a star tells you he wants the hell up out of there. And he told you before the season even began, and you did not grant him his wish. Again, I'm not absolving KP, James Harden, in any way. I'm just simply highlighting the situation for what it is right now. He wants to go to Philly. That would be his number one preference. Brooklyn would be number two. But the reason why Brooklyn isn't number one, because Kyrie is causing problems up in Brooklyn. So Philly's his number one destination right now, is preference. That's where we are.
Well, I tell you one thing. Look, if I'm James Harden and I'm the Houston Rockets, right now they have no choice. Because what he did yesterday, they have no choice but to send him home and let him stay home.
Yeah,
That's not a good thing for James Harden. That's not a good thing for James Harden because he might come back looking like me, all right? But that's the first thing. Second thing is, he's bogus as hell, Stephen A. And he's not bogus for asking for a trade. He's not bogus for wanting to go compete for a title. Or he's not bogus for saying, his time is up. He don't really want to be here in H-Town right now. I get that. But the number one rule, the number one locker room rule is you can never throw your teammates under the bus. And that's exactly what he did last night. And with him going to the podium and saying, we're not good enough, that's disrespectful to John Wall. That's disrespectful to Christian Woods. That's disrespectful to Eric Gordon. That's disrespectful
PJ
to
Tucker,
to House, to PJ
Marcus
Tucker,
Cousins,
to everybody.
Yeah.
That's basically saying I'm playing with a bunch of scrubs, and I'm not saying it to that nature because I think each and every one of those guys could play their tails off. You know, and they was playing inspiring basketball before James Harden got back. So now you can't walk up into the locker room now because guys are giving you the side eye. These are still grown men at the end of the day that's not going to tolerate disrespect. And some things could transpire in that locker room that you don't want to transpire. We all know how Boogie get down. You know he's a guy that's going to speak his mind and a fight go with it. So the best decision right now is to grant James Harden his wish and get him up out of Houston, but let him stay home. It's not good for James Harden because, like I said, he's going to come back looking like me, but it's cool.
He'd have to lose weight to look like you right now, Perk. This is why I told you guys over the last month, Harden had the leverage. This is what a superstar can do. He looks bad right now. There's no way to do it without looking bad. He looks bad right now, but he looks bad because the Rockets are not being offered superstar compensation for him. Remember when I told Fertitta directly I sent open letter to Tillman Fertitta. You have to trade him now. You have to let everybody know we're trading him. Come with your best offer. We're not negotiating. We're going to take the best offer. That would have gotten Fertitta maximum value, optimal value for James Harden. The longer you wait, the worse it's going to be. He becomes an increasingly distressed asset. This is what I'm talking about. Guys, when a superstar tells a team, I don't want to play here anymore, the best thing they can do is pull the trigger on a deal. Because if he does what Harden's doing now, they're going to wind up getting less for him than they would have gotten.
I will say this real quickly. Christian Woods is no scrub. He's giving you 22 a night. I think John Wall has looked better than I thought he would look. He's averaging 18 and 5 a game. Yep. John Wall, and he's only going to get better. John Wall is no scrub. John Wall can ball. And listen, Boogie is there. PJ Tucker, Eric Gordon, those boys are still there. He doesn't have a scrub team. But again, we know he's mishandling this. We know why. And KP, you're absolutely right. You can't throw your teammates under the bus like that. Can't do it. But he's doing it to force his way out. He's doing it to force the situation.
And I get that, but Max, listen, not all the time you have to grant a team has to do what the superstar says if they want out. We just watch Anthony Davis do the same thing, and the New Orleans Pelicans held out until they got everything back that they wanted. And Zion Williamson, the #1 pick, Brandon Ingram. So that's not true. And guess what? The Houston Rockets is still going to get a Ben Simmons or maybe a Kyrie Irving back in the deal.
No Kyrie Irving.
Not losing.
No Kyrie Irving. Nobody's trusting him right now.
Well,
no, they won't.
All right, guys, yeah, the whole situation is pretty crazy. It's pretty messed up, too, but let's end the show on a positive note. Because did you see what LeBron James did last night? He had 26 points highlighted by no-look three-pointer from the corner. It looked good, and guess what? It was all part of a bet. Perk,